I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
This is the story of Kenyatta Barron, age 33, and her 9-year-old daughter, Ronivia O'Neal, who were murdered by her boyfriend Ronnie O'Neal III, age 29. They were brutally beaten, stabbed, and torched. He would go ahead to stab their 8-year-old son Ronnie O'Neal IV and then torched the whole house after all the atrocities he committed, but luckily, his son managed to survive the ordeal, later naming his father as the perpetrator of the gruesome crime.
Did he do something to your sister?
Yes, he hit her with an axe in the head, and then in the back, and the back, and then the head. And then I saw her eyes roll, and then there was blood everywhere.
Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories.
Eyewitness account from an 8-year-old boy. My father shot my mother.
This story will be taking us to Riverview, Florida. Riverview is a suburb with a population of 98,928. Riverview is a southern neighborhood of Tampa, situated in central Florida. Known for its sparkling natural spring waters, this unique park features a long list of outdoor activities. Kenyatta Barron was born on November 13, 1984 in Hillsborough County to Booker T. Ray and C. Barron. Friends and families would describe her as a loving mother and great person. She had a great family, they were so close to each other. Kenyatta fell in love with a young man named Ronnie O'Neal III, they had kids together. Ronnie, who had been arrested in the past for different offenses, was shot during a drive-by shooting. After his ordeal, his family did not accept him back into their homes, but despite Kenyatta's mom's advice to refrain from letting Ronnie into her house, she decided to be kind towards the father of her children and she allowed Ronnie to live with her. Kenyatta's daughter was born prematurely and had cerebral palsy. Diagnosed with autism, she could not speak. His son, Ronnie O'Neal IV, is named after him. Intrigued by Islam, Ronnie started taking classes on religion and self-improvement. Thereafter, he became a devout Muslim who followed Islam. Ronnie identified himself as a member of the organization The Nation of Islam on his Facebook account. Somewhere along the line, Kenyatta let Ronnie back into, even though he had not been nice to her, he had not been paying child support, he started acting as usual, and it was too late at this point in time. He wanted her and her kids to become devoted Muslims according to some source, which most likely was what caused this whole problem.
Love yourself. Love yourself. If somebody ever tell you you cannot do something, stay away from that person, because there's so many negative people out here in this world who try to make you be something you're not, to make you be what they want you to be.
On March 18, 2018, Ronnie got into it with his girlfriend and one thing led to another, and Ronnie killed Kenyatta and then killed her disabled daughter, then proceeded to stabbing his son too before he torched the house. Right about 11:43 p.m. the Hillsborough County, Florida Sheriff's Department received a 911 telephone call. An unknown woman was recorded on the emergency line as saying, "I'm so sorry, Ronnie," before screaming loudly as the call disconnected. During the call they could hear a man's voice in the background stating, "Allah Akbar," which translated from Arabic means, "God is the greatest." Minutes later, after the first call, a second call came in from Ronnie stating that he had been attacked by what he described as white demons.
What's the address of the emergency, ma'am? What's the address of your
I'm
emergency?
shot, help me please.
What's your address? What's your address,
My boyfriend
ma'am?
shot me, help me please. He shot me.
Where?
Allah Akbar!
Ma'am, hello? Ma'am.
He further explained that Kenyatta Barron had tried to kill him, so he killed her in self-defense. He then gave the emergency dispatcher the physical address as 13248 Pike Lake Drive, Riverside, Florida, before disconnecting the call.
911, what is your emergency?
Hey, I just been attacked by some white demons inside, and she tried to kill me. And
What's the
I
address?
killed her stupid. Huh?
What's the address of the emergency? Tried to attack you?
Yes, yes, yes. She did. She tried to kill me.
When the cops arrived, they found Kenyatta in the driveway of a neighboring house with signs of extensive physical assault and an apparent gunshot wound. They also found the murder weapon laying on the ground near her. They then noticed smoke coming out of the house. When they entered, Ronnie tried to exit through the garage. Ronnie was instructed to lay on the ground, but he would not listen. He was eventually subdued and placed in a police car. The Hillsborough County Fire Rescue made entry into the residence, during which they discovered Ronnie O'Neal IV, the couple's 9-year-old son. Ronnie IV was suffering from multiple stab wounds and burns. He told personnel, "My father shot my mother." Medics expedited the boy to the hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery. They would later find the body of the couple's 9-year-old daughter, Ron Nivea, badly burnt. She had been stabbed, shot through her mouth and left in the blaze. One of the deputies reported that Ronnie began repeating, "Allah Akbar," when he was placed in the back of a deputy's vehicle. The Arabic phrase, Allahu Akbar, means, "God is greatest."
Witness account from an 8-year-old boy. My father shot my mother. The dad was arrested today for killing a woman and her young daughter. News Channel 8's Peter Bernard is in the Royal Lakes neighborhood tonight. And Peter, it sounds like that boy is lucky to be alive tonight.
He is. He's going to have some recovery to go through. Tonight, this family home is a burned out shell. Tonight, 2 people are dead, a mother and her daughter, and that boy is recovering. A neighbor's cell phone captured the mayhem on Pine Lake Drive in Riverview.
Sit down!
They just tased him.
Responding to 2 911 calls, one from a woman with a man shouting Allah Akbar in the background, and a second from who we believe is Ronnie O'Neal. He tells the dispatcher, "I've just been attacked by some white demons. Her name is KK, and she tried to kill me, and I just killed her." Deputies arrived to find Kenyatta Barron dying in a neighbor's driveway. As EMS workers tried to save her, they noticed the house next door is on fire and Ronnie O'Neal walking out of the garage. They say O'Neal refused orders to stop and yelling Allah Akbar, so they tased him. Next, his son, also named Ronnie O'Neal, emerged from the home burned and with stab wounds. Fire rescue searched the home and found a young girl dead of multiple stab wounds.
Especially someone who seems so nice to just turn out that way and like in an instant like that, just snap.
It's pretty sad, I want to say, because, you know, there's a child involved.
The home is gutted. Piles of charred belongings are in the backyard. And there appears to be quite a lot of evidence in this case. Detectives tell us Ronnie Sr. had blood on his clothes and on his shoes, and he also had burn injuries. They also tell us a canine went inside and detected accelerants, and they say they also found a gas can in a bedroom.
Cops discovered the disabled daughter was just starting to walk and not depending on her wheelchairs. Autopsy concluded that Kenyatta suffered 1 gunshot wound to the right shoulder, multiple lacerations, and blunt force trauma to her neck and head. Her cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head. The autopsy of Ron Nivea determined she had suffered from a gunshot wound to the neck, which essentially decapitated her. Ronnie O'Neal III was arrested on 7 criminal counts, 2 counts of murder in the first degree, with premeditation and firearm capital felony, 1 count attempted murder in the first degree, 1 count arson in the first degree felony, 2 counts of aggravated child abuse, 1 count resisting officer without violence first-degree misdemeanor. During the trial, Ronnie asked to represent himself. He was seen in court acting in all types of manner.
Mr. O'Neal, you need to speak audibly so that the jury can hear what you're saying.
Yes, ma'am, I haven't begun yet. I was talking to my father. He showed you a fraudulent recording where they allege that I beat Kenyatta Barron to death. He talked about Mr. Khalil Brown, my neighbor who stayed across the street. But if Mr. Khalil Brown was a help to them proving me guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, they would have called Mr. Khalil Brown. But I called Mr. Khalil Brown to be a witness for me. And I didn't ask him to lie about one thing that he saw that night. I asked him to tell the jury exactly what he saw that night. And you have to ask yourself why that is. Because he's playing a fraudulent damn recording of me beating Kenyatta Barron 15 damn times when that did not happen. If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not.
All right, Mr. O'Neill, please stop using swearing language. It's not appropriate in a closing argument.
He would cross-examine his own son, making him go through all those events again. His son testified against him.
Did he do something to your sister?
Yes, he hit her with an axe in the head, and then in the back, and the back, and then the head. And then I saw her eyes roll, and then there was blood everywhere. I was laying on my stomach. He had his foot on top of me, and he was holding me down, and he was like lighting a match.
Then came the emotional moment when O'Neill, for cross-examination, came face-to-face with his son for the first time since the attack.
How you doing, Ronnie?
Good.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
O'Neill got to work trying to show inconsistency in his son's previous testimony about his mother's shooting, pointing out he might be an unreliable witness due to PTSD.
Did you see me shoot your mom?
No.
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes.
I did. And how did I hurt you?
You stabbed me.
After a lengthy trial, the jury reached a verdict. Guilty. Ronnie O'Neill III received 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. 2 life sentences were for the 2 capital murder charges of Kenyatta Barron and Ronivia O'Neill.
Ronnie O'Neill III will spend the rest of his life behind bars for the double murder of his girlfriend and his daughter.
Today, a judge sentenced him to 3 life terms plus 90 years. She called it the worst case she's ever seen. 10 Tampa Bay photojournalist Dennis Hollingsworth has more on what the judge told O'Neill.
This is the worst case ever in my life, and I have seen some horrors, but this is it. And I'm going to mete out the punishment that I think this case deserves. When the person from fire department, when he testified, and when he said that he retrieved the body of Ronivia O'Neill from the home, and all he could do was sob. It took every ounce I had not to start sobbing too. Because there is no way any person with any feeling could have witnessed or seen the photos of what occurred that night and not be haunted for the rest of your life. I know I will be. For the rest of my life, I'll be haunted. But the pain and suffering that she suffered that night at your hands, unspeakable, absolutely unspeakable. And at the moment, that first time you struck her with that hatchet, and little Ronnie testified that all he could see was tears coming out of his sister's face. At that moment, that child knew she was being betrayed in the cruelest, most tragic and sorrowful way that a child could ever be betrayed. She was being betrayed by her parent, the one person that should be there to protect their children and love them and keep them from harm. And that was the last thing that child felt before she passed on from this earth, was your utter, cruel betrayal to her.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Mr. O'Neill,
All right.
Listen, stop,
All right.
listen to me.
I'm not
You're not going to raise your voice again.
I'm not going to raise my voice again. I'm not.
I will have you removed from this courtroom. I can sentence you without you being present.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't conduct
I
yourself.
understand, Your Honor.
Thank you.
But I will say, I'm sorry for your loss.
Kenyatta Barron's mother told the court she was not pleased with the jury's decision.
I'm not pleased with what the verdict was, and I wish you could overturn it and give him what he's rightly due.
O'Neal sat there, smiling and smirking, as Kenyatta Barron's sister spoke to him.
I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for your circumstances.
One life sentence was for the attempted murder of Ronnie O'Neal IV. Judge Sisko further sentenced O'Neal III to 30 years for the first-degree arson charge and 30 years for the 2 aggravated child abuse charges. Ronnie O'Neal IV made a full recovery and was released from the hospital to stay with an extended family. He would later be adopted by one of the detectives who were called to the scene of the crime on that fateful day.
I had already known that I would want to take Ronnie home with us starting that night.
But it didn't happen overnight. Not until they received one call asking if they knew anyone who could foster Ronnie. That call became their calling.
I was driving by our church when the guardian is asking, hey, do you know of somebody who can help us out?
Danielle Blair had prayed for this moment.
I started praying that God would soften Michael's heart and say, okay, yes, we have a place that Ronnie belongs.
Now Ronnie has a new family and 5 new siblings who've accepted Ronnie into their lives.
One of the best moms and dads. They take care of me.
It's become more than just a new house for Ronnie. It's a home. They even have a family mantra.
As it goes to the family, and it's, I am safe, I am loved, and I'm part of this family.
A very sad story which we do hope never happens to anyone again. Our sincere condolences to the friends and families of Kenyatta Barron. May Kenyatta's memory be a blessing for her family and for all who knew her, and may her life and death be an inspiration and a turning point towards justice and increased protection for domestic abuse survivors. Please stay safe out there and see you guys in the next video.